as he always says, in less than an hour. So we're gonna do our best to do that. Do we have any public?
No one signed up.
Nobody signed up. Anybody in the audience that have anything to say? Okay. Moving on, we will approve the minutes, consider action of approving the minutes for December 18th, 2023 meeting.
Motion approved. Second.
I have a first by Carol and a second. Thank you. Okay, and all those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Is that good enough? Okay. Our second agenda item, number 4 on the agenda, is orientation. Review of and discussion on purpose, roles, responsibilities, functions of the tax increment reinvestment zone for 4 board of directors. Anna?
Good afternoon. So today we're going to be going over your orientation for 2024. Now, City Council requires an annual orientation workshop for all of the board members to introduce you to the roles and responsibilities and to go over any significant agreement. You're also required to do a one-time open meetings training through the city secretary. And the state of Texas also requires a conflict of interest training and disclosure training conducted by the city attorney. So that's going to be going on later on in this meeting. Now here you'll see the list of the board of directors. We have 4 appointees from the city, 2 from Fort Bend County, 1's from the drainage district, and then we have 2 appointees from MUD 139 and 138. We do have a position for MUD 137, but they have not approved the participation agreement, so they don't have anybody here representing them today. Now, the rules and procedures for TIRZ 4 were adopted in 2011. They provide the instruction for the administration of the zone and the operational procedures for the board. And this includes the terms of the board members, the duties and powers, and also the procedures for the meeting, including how to move forward with an executive session and any conflicts. And here you're going to see a map of the zone. So I did include a previous map and then a more current map. So you can see some of the development that's happened on the north side of 59. And you can also see the areas for MUD 137, 138, and 139. The TIRZ was created in 2009 with 5 members. It was 4 members from the city and 1 from the county. And this does later on change in one of the amendments, but we did have 701 acres initially, and the city's base value is 21.5 million. And the creation ordinance was later on amended in 2010, and this allowed for the 4 board positions for the MUDs and the drainage district to be included. And it also reduced the acreage to 698, and this removed the residential plots from the TIRZ. And here you'll see the project plan. So it was approved in 2013, and this outlines the zone's projects in the order of priority. And the project costs were estimated at 50 million. And it also stipulates that the project plan will not issue any debt, but it can reimburse the project cost by the city, the county, your rate, and any developer. And here you'll see the participating entities. So we have 138 and 139 that have the tax rate of 50% of their base values, which is the 10.5 million and 10.9 million. And then we also have Fort Bend County and Fort Bend County Drainage District that agreed to participate at a decreasing rate. So that it gives us the importance of making sure that development happens earlier in the project versus later on when we'll receive a lower percentage. And in 2013, the city approved the support services agreement that allows the city manager to make expenditures for the zone. And this would go through the annual budget process as well. And it also includes the support personnel and services that's provided for the general administration, financial services, legal, and execution of contracts and projects as well. And every year in September, the board recommends to city council the budget. And so this year, you guys are gonna hear about the budget in this meeting today. And then once you guys approve it, we'll send it over to city council for approval in October. And in FY 24, the revenues were estimated at 1.8 million and the expenditures were estimated at 62,000. So our ending fund balance for FY 24 was estimated to be 9.1 million. And the annual report is mandated by chapter 311 of the Texas Tax Code. And this will include all of the annual revenues, expenditures, debt, captured values, and taxes collected. And we will have tables for each of the entities in the zone. So this would be the drainage district, the MUDs, and then the city and the county as well. And so once you guys approve the annual report, we'll send it to city council for approval. And then we're able to send it to the state comptroller and all the participating entities in the zone as well. And here's the board calendar. So we typically meet at 4 p.m. every third Monday of March, June, September, and December. If we don't have any business, we'll go ahead and cancel meetings and give you those days back. But that happened this year, so we did not meet in June and March. But we are meeting today and we're going to go over all of the required items such as election of officers, orientation, budget, and your ethics training. And later on in December, we'll do your annual report and you'll receive a development update as well. Any questions?
Thank you, Anna. Item 5, election of officers. Before we get to item 5, I want to welcome Marcelo new to our board. I was formally supposed to introduce you, and it was a surprise, a pleasant surprise to have you on the board. And you're representing Fort Wayne County?
Yes.
Excellent. So welcome aboard. So today is like drinking out of a fire hose. We have our budget and our training and orientation. So you'll get a lot of this information and they can provide it and a lot of it's in the packet, but the PowerPoints they can provide to you if you would like to study them a little further.
Yeah, I did some work with Anna beforehand, so I wrote my Bible here.
Excellent. Well, welcome aboard.
Thank you.
So item 5, consideration of an action on election of vice chairman, secretary, and other officers as deemed necessary. Anna?
So through the creation ordinance, the board is authorized to elect from its members a vice chairman and any other officers that they see fit. And the city council has the right to appoint the chairman every year. So this year we have Greg Sturman, who was appointed with his term ending in December 2024. And the board last elected Jennifer Raymond as vice chairman and Pamela Gubbles as secretary in June 2003. Now, the chairman's role is to preside over the meetings of the board and sign all the documents requiring execution on the board's behalf. And then the vice chair is responsible for these duties in the absence of the chairman. And at this time, if there's not any questions, I'll turn it over to Jennifer for nomination for vice chair and secretary.
Okay, if I recall, we will take each position separately. And so I would ask for. Sorry. That's all right. Yes, she's gonna be president. I'm just kidding. You were just nominated. I'm just kidding. So I open the floor for nominations for vice president, vice chairman. So I have.
Yeah, I nominate you, Jennifer, for that role. I mean, yeah, you served us well last year and 2 of those meetings were canceled, so.
Yeah, you like the track record.
Yeah, so, yeah.
Do you have any other nominations? Should we make the motion now? Okay. Do I have, so is that a motion?
To appoint you as our vice chair.
Do I have a second?
I already seconded. Yeah.
Oh, thank you, Carol. I'm sorry, I didn't hear that. Do I have all those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. So Jennifer Raymond is vice chairman. Secretary, do I have any nominations for secretary?
Nominate Pamela.
I was about to nominate Cynthia.
Half of those meetings were canceled, but.
Well, now we have a.
Okay, well, I'll take mine back.
Okay. We have a nomination of Pamela Goebbels. Do we have any for the nominations. Okay, so I am assuming that's a first motion to nominate Pamela. Do I have a second?
Go ahead and go to the record now.
Okay, Marcelo, you made it. I have a second by Marcelo. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Congratulations. And last, there's the only two officers. Correct. Okay. Thank you all and good luck to us, I guess, next year in the coming year. Item number 6, annual ethics training. Receive training related to the Sugarland Code of Ethics, ethical conduct, and state laws regulating ethics and reporting responsibilities of city officials. Meredith.
Good afternoon, I'm Meredith Reedy, City Attorney. I think most of you already know me. You're the new guy. I'm Meredith.
How are you?
This is gonna look real familiar because you're gonna get this every year. So state law hasn't changed, so the presentation hasn't changed. So if you want to go along and speak with me, it's not gonna hurt my feelings. Because this is an ethics presentation, I did go ahead and put the disclaimer at the bottom. These are not my images. All right, so you're probably saying ethics treatment. What am I supposed to do? There's 2 questions as you're probably wondering. What are you required to do? And if you don't do it, what's gonna happen to you? Well, 2 state laws I want you to know about, chapter 171, chapter 176. Chapter 171 is the regulation of conflicts of interests. And what are you prohibited from doing? This is a double negative, so pay attention. You are prohibited from failing to file an affidavit and abstain from voting on matters in which you have a substantial interest. And you go, sounds easy enough. What is a substantial interest? Well, substantial interest in a business entity, you have one if you, your spouse, your parent, or your child own 10% or more of the voting stock, shares of fair market value, 15,000 or more the fair market value of that business entity, or your paycheck was 10% or more from that company. And you go, that's great. What about real property? Well, that is, once again, if you, your parents, your spouse, your child have legal ownership of $2,500 or more in that real property. So if you own part of a driveway, guess what? You have substantial interest. And if you do have the substantial interest, what do you have to do? You're gonna file an affidavit with the city secretary, city clerk. You have to abstain from participation in, discussion, and vote on the matter. And this affidavit must be filed prior to any vote on this. Now, because we are home to the Houston Astros and they have a little bit of a history of being able to read signs, I'm gonna ask that you go ahead and step outside or suggest, because we don't want anybody to think that you are influencing your fellow board members saying, you know, vote this way or whatever signs may be. I'm not a baseball fan. So that's what you do with substantial interest. And if you decide you don't want to file that affidavit, what happens? It's Class A misdemeanor. You get to spend some quality time down the county bed and breakfast. They will feed you, they will house you, and it's double occupancy. Not sure if I want food poisoning because they cook for themselves, but I leave that up to you. It's also a fine not to exceed $4,000. You're having a really bad day, it's the jail and a fine, and not a good time. So chapter 176, disclosure of certain relationships and bragging of gifts. This is my favorite. What are you required to do on 176? You have to file yet another form with the city secretary, city clerk, called a conflicts disclosure statement. So you can talk about certain business relationships and once again, gifts. Now, the district attorney calls them bribes. I prefer the term gifts. It's a little bit more friendly. So you must file the statement with the city clerk's office no later than 5 p.m. on the 7th business day once you realize that you have this conflict or you receive the gift. So when do you have to talk about business relationships? Once again, when you're related to a vendor, then it's 3rd degree of blood or 2nd degree by marriage. I have no idea what that is, but I have a beautiful chart on my desk. So if you need a copy, just let me know. I can print that off for you. And it's also if you were a family member or receiving income of $2,500 during that 12-month period. So when do you get to brag about gifts? Now you get to brag when the cumulative dollar amount of all the gifts from one vendor in a calendar year reaches $100. So gifts could be lodging, transportation, entertainment. It's also food when the vendor is not present. So if you get a little gift basket, you have to brag about it. So, and if you decide you don't want to brag about your gift or talk about your family's income of $2,500 from that vendor, it's only a Class C misdemeanor and the contract can be declared void. That was very, very fast. Do you have any questions?
That was really quick.
Well, you know, ethical people just brag about gifts. And if you get a paycheck or your family member gets a paycheck from something on the agenda in front of you, just tell us about it.
But when you talk about properties within the TIRZ, right?
Yes. Yeah, we don't care what you have outside of that. It's only related to what you can vote on.
Thank you, Meredith. All right. As always, great job. Our last and final item is item 7, budget. Consideration of and action on the fiscal year 2024 budget to projections amendment and adoption of proposed fiscal year 2025 budget. Nan?
Yes. Okay, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to my presentation. So today I'm going to present to you the TIRZ 4. I'm going to present the budget and FY 24 projections and FY 25 proposed budget. And on the agenda today, we have an update on the FY 24 incremental tax value and revenues. We're going to see the impact on the FY 24 projections. We'll go to the FY 25 incremental tax value and revenues, and then we will review the FY 25 proposed budget. There's an action item at the end that we will ask you to approve, and then we can pass it to the city council. Okay, first of all, FY 24 incremental tax value. So we have two columns on the left side here. The first one is the certified roll. The second one is supplemental number 9. The certified roll is the one that we use to calculate the budget for FY 24 that we earlier discussed last year. The supplemental number 9 is the number that we are using to calculate the projections for FY 24. Both of these set of numbers have been received from Fort Bend CAT. So the approach values here, we have a slightly about 1% decrease from the approach values from 366.7 million to 363.6 million. So the change in value is around $3 million drop in value. The assumption abatement for the city size has been keeping the same, unchanged. The base value has been unchanged, and the FY 24 incremental values for the city size is $325.8 million. On the Fort Bend County size, the approach value has been the same with the city. The exemption abatement has been unchanged, base value has been unchanged, and we also have the $3 million reduced in value, which is around 1%. FY 24 incremental values for the county is $273.11 million. Yes, ma'am.
So why would you have, with the projections, why do you have a decrease in the value? What causes that?
Well, so this one is a very minimal. We actually received the actual numbers from the roll, from the certified roll from the Fort Bend CAT. Since it's which one is a minimal, but we don't really know what the answer is.
Answer that. It's a lot of times it's due to protests that happen throughout.
So that was gonna be my next question. I know with, I know that with the MUDs, I assumed that's what it was, but I didn't know if that was the same thing with the county
They have
too.
to certify in July, but those protests are still going.
Right,
And so when they certify the roll, they still have some outstanding protests, and they'll continue to move forward on those. And they'll have supplements 1, 2, and then obviously they have 9 on here, and those are the differences.
okay. I figured that might be it, but I thought it better. Okay.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Yep. And next we have the third entity is the entity here is the utility district. So we have MUD 138. We have a $7 million decrease, which is about 3%. And we also have there's no exemption, no abatement. MUD 138 incremental value for FY 24 is $193.5 million. For MUD 139, there's also no abatement exemptions. There's $6.3 million reduced, and we are standing at $57.22 million at the end of FY 24. And this one here is a snapshot of all the entities and all the revenues that we collect in FY 24. We are standing at $1.58 million, which is roughly $20,000 more than what we anticipated for last year. And this one here is include other source of revenues, which is the interest income. We anticipate $250,000 in interest income that add up to the revenues here of $1.8 million. The expenditures here, we have some saving in the service. So that's why we are having a drop down in expenditure from $62,000. We only use $48,500 in FY 24. That leads to the net income of $1.78 million. And the ending balance here we have is $9.3 million, which is $33,000 higher than what we anticipate for earlier, which is a positive sign because we have more and balance for our activity. Moving on to FY 25 incremental tax value, the same format here, but on the right columns here is the certified roll for FY 25. Now we are picking up $5.49 million in approved values. We also have a under IRB values here is we have 15 millions. This number here is the one that Fort Bend Cat is still under the review. 91% of that number is expected to be added up to the approved values when we come to the later supplemental. That's happened both to both the city and the county. The exemption abatement here, there is more abatement of $543,000. The base value has been remained the same, and the FY 25 incremental values, yes.
Our chart is different than.
Yes, there is this one here. Actually, the one that you are having right there on your PowerPoint is actually that's one has been calculated 91. This one here is also this one here doesn't count a 91 in there. This one is the whole value. The 13 you see in there, that has been calculated. Yeah.
Okay, so I mean, should we
Both
have?
number is correct, but you know it should have been the 13. The 13 is the one at 91. This one is 100%.
Okay,
Yeah. So the FY 25 incremental values for the city side is $344.5 million. For the Fort Bend County, we have a very similar situations. We have some increase in abatement, and the FY 25 incremental value is $288.7 million. Okay. Moving on to utility district, MUD 138, we have $3.4 million increase in values. We also have the under ARB of $5.3 million under review. Trickle down to the FY 25 incremental value for MUD 138 is $201.8 million. For MUD 139, we pick up $4.4 million in values, and the FY 25 incremental value is $61.6 million.
And our chart doesn't match what you have there on the screen.
no,
So our chart says the under ARB review 4/8/37/424.
Oh, yes, this is.
Well, the vote was the same. So
Yeah, that's another case. Well, this one here is the 100%. This one here is the 91. We calculate the 91 later. Yes, yeah, and we fix it.
We assume a 91% collection rate of the under ARB review. So what is probably in the chart, I think in the agenda item is the 91% we assume to be correct, or we anticipate collecting.
it's 91% of the $5 million that will give us to the 4/8/37/424.
Yes, sir.
Yep. So, but these incremental values have been correct. All right, and we are coming to the snapshot of the revenues. There's a note here that we have an increase in the rate for the city size and also the MUD 138, 139, from 35 cents, we increase to 35,321. And the total revenue that we estimate for FY 25 is $1.659 million.
so that's rates that you increased, not that the MUDs increased, is that correct? Who made that decision for those proposed rates?
Well, the proposer is the city.
The city, okay.
Because we just, as much, just adopted
That's
lower
right.
rates.
We just did, yeah, we just. did
29, 20, yeah, like really low.
Yeah,
All right, and this one is the expenditure size. We have $50,000 in support service, and for administration support, we anticipate $16,433,000. That add up to the total of $66,400. That is for a financial service, legal service, and cost allocations for the salary reimbursement. All right, this one here is a summary of everything. We have incremental property tax of 4 entities, of $1.65 million. Interest income of $250,000, that add up to a revenue of $1.9 million. And after the expenditure of 66.4, we have a net income of $1.84 million. And the ending fund balance is $11.14 million. Okay, and that's my presentation. Yes.
We want to clarify something on the MUD tax rate.
So the MUD tax rates are set at the city's tax rate that we propose. And it's based on the agreement, the participation agreements where each MUD will participate at 50% of the city's taxable value or tax rate. Aren't taxable value, but the tax rate. So that's the reason why the city's tax rate is used for MUD 138, 139, even though both MUDs have a proposed tax rate. That's just how the participation agreement was written.
Wow. I did not realize.
So
Does that make sense?
yes, but how does that affect our tax? You know, like you said, we just,
Well, we're only reimbursing 138, 139 are only reimbursing 50% of the 35. So 17 and change
right.
is what they're reimbursing the city for, the TIRZ for. Even though our tax rate's 27, I can't remember what we just approved last week.
Right.
And then when you do Fort Bend County, are you including Fort Bend County and drainage?
Yes. Drainage is included.
That tax rate isn't correct either.
It's not included in the drainage. No, drainage district is not included in Fort Bend County's tax proposed rate.
But drainage district is a participant.
Is a participant? Yeah, we can adjust that.
Okay, so, and also like the collection rate, okay, at 99.5. So you're saying you're gonna collect 99.5, but then you, on the chart earlier, it was 91%.
Well,
We
91,
assume for the ARB value, we assume 91% of that value
Okay,
to be what we collect.
okay.
And from my understanding, it's only the county participates, not the drainage district. So what we have listed in like our budget notes is only GO1, which is the county's.
And DO1.
Both.
Okay. Well, we can account for that.
I thought it was mentioned in the previous presentation.
Yeah.
That's what it was. Just the drainage participates. So
It's
does it or doesn't it?
And then also, the 91% of the ARB, that's the, of the ARB review, that's the rate that the CAD provides. And
Yes.
that's the difference between the preliminaries and the certified. But if you've already have certified, then you shouldn't have to add another 91%.
Well, we're assuming 91% of that value of the certified under review.
it will be added into the Slater rule when we do supplemental. That's
When we gather the supplemental, which will have the total value, which should not be under review at that point, we will go in and amend the projections or amend the budget to projections.
Hey, Mom, what were you just saying just a minute ago that was in the earlier presentation? I missed that. I was making a note over here.
Yeah, the drainage. It was mentioned in the earlier.
Drainage
presentation.
district, the drainage district is a participant, so my question was, it says participating entity here, it's only listing Fort Bend County, so I was wondering if the proposed rate was Fort Bend County and drainage district together.
Okay.
Um,
Was that or?
but he said that rate is not.
It rates the Fort Bend County right. I don't think it includes the drainage.
Yeah, so where is the drainage?
That's what we're asking. That's what we're asking, where's the Fort Bend County drainage?
Right, okay, like I said, I was making other notes here, and I'm like, okay, wait a minute, I heard something else here, yeah, right. Okay.
Yeah, so where is it?
Confirm. That's what they have in their notes. We'll have to confirm on that.
So the participation rate of 50% is just for the MUDs? That's what it is?
That's the percentage of the tax revenue that these entities have committed to. It's not 100%, it's just 50% of their
All
overall.
of those entities up to.
That's correct.
Fort Bend County has a little bit of a different participation, but right now it's 50.
Yeah.
Have an increased
They
participation.
got a decreasing
It's-
participation rate
okay.
over time, yeah.
Do we know the big difference between 138 and 139? I know for a while, one 39 was catching up, or, was behind because it wasn't, fully developed. But I'm thinking that 139 is, at least residential, is pretty much developed. Is the big difference between the two, the commercial that's located in 138, or why still such a difference in the two?
139 has MD Anderson,
Right.
Smart Financial,
And that,
right? So I mean, like, there's a lot of tax exempt.
that's what I'm saying. That's what I meant. So is the big
Yeah.
difference that
Yeah.
138 has all the ones that do have to pay taxes? Well, but MD Anderson's not on the ground yet right now, so I wouldn't think that that's.
But the land's off the tax roll.
There's no property taxes on it.
Yeah, okay. All right, so it's just being held. Yeah, okay. So that, but I guess then my question is, so there's still gonna be a big difference between those two kind of.
Simply because they're collecting less, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so from what I it was. So I thought that the drainage should be including that, so that was, Crosby, can you confirm again that?
Yeah, I'm confirming right now.
Okay,
I'm asking.
okay, yeah. Because usually that was lumped up with the Fort Bend County.
That's what it had been in the past. In
Yes.
previous years, it was both of them together, and it just showed Fort Bend County.
To my knowledge, yes.
What's the total tax rate for the county? Is it 82 cents, including the drainage district?
82 cents. You're funny. It's 42 cents.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Aren't you at 50%? Oh,
Right, but the
50%, it's not showing it. Okay,
Right.
okay.
So what I'm having from FY 24, when we were actually budget for FY 24, we have 43 cents. And then for FY for the supplemental number 9 is 42 cents 65. And now it dropped down to 41.16. So that was the rate I have for Fort Bend Cat, and I was informed that include the drainage in there as well.
So both of them together, Fort Bend County and Drainage District is 422.
422.
For tax year 2024, fiscal year 2025.
You have that?
Yeah, no, we'll include it.
I'm not sure how to go about this.
I think he's calculating new numbers right now.
Okay. So can we consider the first motion, first action of the fiscal year 2024 budget projections? Because this is impacting the 2025 budget.
It's not, yes, you can go ahead and.
Yeah, so I move that we amend the FY 2024 budget projections to what is presented to us today.
So I have a second. Thank you, Pamela.
Second.
And all those in favor?
Aye.
So approved. Then we will wait on the second agenda item if everybody has something.
I have a question. Where does that interest income
Oh,
come?
yes, that we use our fund balance to actually go into some Texas pool and Texas class and Texas stars. We use that to have more generate more income.
Do you guys ever provide us with a bond report on those? I know at the Mud District, we get bond reports for the interest and all that. I don't know. I guess the TIRZ.
Investment report.
Investment
You
report.
mean an investment report?
Yeah, an investment report.
I don't know if in the past, if that's ever been provided, but it's certainly something that we can. Let's find out about how is it generating that? It has a significant amount of interest because of the balance of the TIRZ, so.
Yes, absolutely. And interest rates on
And that.
bonds and stuff have
Yeah.
been. Any other questions about valuations or participation levels?
Okay, the increase to the incremental tax value for, or what we collect or we will receive from Fort Bend County, with including the drainage district rate, the drainage district and the county total being 0.422 should be 606,182 instead of 591,243.
For a total revenue estimate of,
For a total revenue estimate of 1,674,569.
Would you repeat both of those numbers one more time, please?
Yep, Fort Bend incremental property tax value or incremental collection what we get would be 606,182. With the total property tax revenue being let me say the full value. 1,674,569.
And that's at the 42 rate.
Yes, ma'am.
422 rate. Thank you.
And what are the figures to update this chart over here? Well, this number is the same.
So this is on
yes, it's this number that is changed.
For which
okay.
number?
on page 9,
Yeah.
Fort Bend County,
Right,
on the right side, the fiscal year 25 revenue estimate is 606,182.
182.
Mhm.
Okay.
And then the total will change on the far right to 1,674,569.
Okay. And that's with the drainage district added into it. Okay.
And a 422.
Got it, thank you.
Okay.
Yep.
And yes, so the Fort Bend County tax rate will then change to 0.422.
Mhm. Okay.
That's how it,
Which then changes the page.
which then changes. Not the end balance. Is that what you're talking about?
Well, it's gonna change
Does
the
that-
property taxes, which then changes the total revenue and changes the end balance.
On the budget summary.
Yes,
Page 11.
so page 11.
We can update it really quickly and get you a total of that.
So the top line will be 1,674,569.
Mhm.
With the changes, the total revenues will come in at 1,924,569.
Run that back.
Our net, excuse me,
Can you repeat that?
okay, $1,924,569.
That's total revenue on page 11.
Right,
Yep.
Yeah.
And then our net income,
Our net income would increase by I'm not gonna say the increase, but the total value would be $1,858,136.
50 balance.
just 1,858, what?
136.
136,
Okay. All right,
ending fund balance,
11,164,225.
This is why you guys were all elected to this board.
And we'll get these slides updated and send them out tomorrow, so you have a.
Copy of it.
Yeah.
Thank you all for paying attention to the details and getting this corrected. So do I have a motion to approve the 2025 proposed budget as amended for the numbers we were just provided? Thank you, Marcelo. Do I have a second? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Thank you, everybody.
Motion to adjourn?
Thank you, Carolyn. Second? Excellent. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.